I'd like to say a couple of things about health and environmental damage caused by nuclear power stations. On the health issue, there are two main things that I want to get across. The first is that when I've given talks to environmental groups in the past, their concerns have been on the water discharges from existing nuclear plants and from any new proposed ones. However, in my experience, the real danger in it is from the air emissions for a number of reasons. One is that the air emissions are usually larger, and these are air emissions of radionuclides. And secondly, that when it comes to drinking water, if the worst comes to the worst, we can always buy bottled water, but you can't buy bottled air. You have to breathe the air, and that's where the damage is. So I would say to the legislators, be worried about the air emissions from any proposed reactors. The second thing that I'd like to get across is that there's a great deal of epidemiological evidence which shows that there are increased levels of childhood leukemia near many nuclear power stations, not just in the United States, but in the rest of the world as well. In fact, I've just, with Cindy, written a book called The Scientists Who Alerted Us to the Dangers of Radiation. And the intriguing thing is that what we found is that about half of the scientists that we've covered, they independently found raised levels of childhood leukemia near the power stations that they studied. These are all American. Many of them are in New York State, in fact. And it's an important issue that congressmen and congresswomen should really take into account, that there are, in fact, raised levels of childhood leukemia. Now, it's difficult to put on one side these concerns about childhood leukemia with what the officials say. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, IAEA, IRCP, et cetera, UNSCARE all say there's nothing to worry about. But in fact, the studies that I've performed and many of my colleagues have shown, and the scientists in this book have shown the exact opposite. And we have to take their views into account, in my views. And if that's the case, then we shouldn't be building nuclear power stations if there's a chance that kiddies nearby are going to die from leukemia.